Hi, I'm Melanie.
And I'm Cory.
And welcome to Love 'em and Lead 'em.
Lessons and laughs with the ladies of Dog Training Camp USA.
In this podcast, you'll take away proven and practical dog training advice with plenty of stories and laughs along the way.
Join us as we share our experience from the kennel and from life.
With that, let's sniff our way into this episode. Hey.
You're always saying that. Every episode, you're like, let's sniff our way into this episode.
Okay.
Like it makes me have the sniffles.
Welcome back.
Welcome. Okay, so are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm ready to just get right into this.
Let's do it.
The tip of the week. And I want to say this, I want to give this tip out with the utmost respect, admiration, and I don't even know what else, like just respect and admiration and knowledge of the fact that my elders are very important and they have a lot to contribute and all of these things, and that I appreciate.
You respect and admire yourself?
Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, seriously, in all seriousness, this is with the utmost respect. This comes from a lot of years of answering the phone. And I would like to encourage, well, I guess I should say the tip is about when you want to get a dog. So to acquire a new pet. And when you're elderly, I implore you to, number one, not get a puppy. And number two, if you get a puppy and you disregard tip number one, please don't let it be a German Shepherd. And that's my tip of the day.
Okay. Let's dissect that a little bit. I think there's a lot of baggage here on this topic.
I feel like I'm traumatized on this topic alone.
I know. It's like old ladies, little old frail ladies and German Shepherds go together like peaches and cream.
If you drop the bowl of peaches and cream on the floor and it shatters everywhere, is how it goes. I get it. You're older, your dog died and it was 15, right? And it was the most angelic sent from heaven above creature that's ever graced the earth, and it made your life better. And I get it. I absolutely 100% understand that. I understand what it is to want another pet after you lose one and how it can fill a hole and everything else. But what I find in my dealings with the public is that if your dog died at 15, you were 15 years younger when that dog was a puppy. And puppyhood is a lot like childbirth, where you forget how horrible it is. And it makes you're blinded by love and you forget how horrible it is. And then you do it again, like having a baby and whatnot. So when you are not just elderly, if you have physical conditions that are extremely limiting, I mean, we need to be conscientious of the human and family's activity level and age and physical capabilities and their time and their work schedule and all of these things. Because at the end of the day, I can work with a German Shepherd and I can work with an elderly person that has this German Shepherd, but I can't make the dog not a German Shepherd. I can't make it smaller and I can't make it older. And I can't make the human less frail and younger and more virile. So we are limited on our solutions when it's a huge mismatch of people.
It's tough. It's one of the parts of this job that I struggle with because I don't really want to break anybody's hearts. I don't want to tell people things they don't want to hear. But a lot of the times we find ourselves in the situations where we're having these uncomfortable conversations with people about realistically, is this the right dog for you? Is this the right fit for you? Are you physically able to control this dog? Is it safe for you?
I mean, it's hard because at the end of the day, I'm not discounting the dog's love for the human and the human's love for the dog. I
Mm-mm.
mean, most of the time they love each other, and I get it. But when it becomes unsafe for the human, it's hard. So, like, I always joke, like, "Hey, old ladies, quit getting German shepherds." But it's because of all the stuff we've seen, and it's gut wrenching to us. I mean, we had an older woman crying on the phone the other day that she just can't handle the dog and doesn't need more training. And it was a matter of, even if we gave the dog more training, she can't physically safely handle the dog on the leash.
She'd been pulled down by the dog and physically injured.
Yeah, had a concussion laid in the yard.
Yeah, in the winter.
We had another client that it wasn't a German Shepherd, it was a pit, and she is in her 80s or almost 80 and wears wedges. She had 2 black eyes that
God,
bruising had
I
run
forgot about that.
her whole face. Do you remember? It was like yellow and
Yeah.
purple and blue, and she just turned like 79 or something. And I'm like,
Oh, I think she was 89.
"No."
She was old as the hills.
Wow. Well, anyway,
But we kept saying what good shape she was in.
she was in good
'Cause it was
shape,
like a
but
shocking
it's
age.
still 80 years old in good shape is still not any match for a 3-year-old pit from the shelter.
Like
Like,
streets. Yeah, for sure. For
so
sure.
and she was physically injured. And so we try our hardest to come up with solutions and management solutions and whatnot and offer everything we can. But at the end of the day, it comes down to safety, and there's just no guarantee, right? So, yep, we trained our dog. It walks in a heel. It does everything beautifully until something happens and it doesn't. I mean, it's just the nature of it. So, anyway, if you are an older person or physically challenged in some way that makes you unable to handle physically a dog and be able to walk them and whatnot, then consider an older dog. They all need adopted out of the shelter. Consider, I don't know.
Probably not many old people are gonna listen to a podcast. So if you are
If your
the
mother,
child of an old person,
we are offending people of a certain age right now, all around.
we still won't take it back because we are like these older clients with these dogs. We're working like a lot of times their children are bringing them to us or encouraging them to call us, or they know it's not safe for their.
Yeah, the parent won't listen to the
Yes.
child. And so they call us and they're like, we need you to talk to my mom or whatever.
Yeah, because they won't listen to me, or we need this uninterested party to tell my mom what a bad
We're
idea
like
this is.
third party mediators.
Yeah. So, gosh, it's just interesting all the time.
There's older dogs or dogs with some medical issues or whatever that need somebody that stays home a lot and is maybe doesn't need as much physical activity that you can keep up with easier.
Yeah.
Or get a cat.
There's always a cat.
There's
Lots of cats.
always a cat. You can always find a cat.
And if you
but
just-
anyway,
You can't just have one cat either. You almost need two. So, just get a couple of cats.
I'm for that.
Even if you're
100%.
allergic.
2
You'll be
thumbs
fine.
up for getting a bunch of cats. But no, we see it over and over and it's disheartening. And when they call us crying and there's literally like nothing else that we can do. And it's hard on us. It's hard on me and it's hard on the person and it's hard on the family and it's dangerous and all the things. So I would be happy to consult on the adoption of a dog for an elderly person and find a good fit. I would much rather spend my time helping them find an appropriate dog that they can be successful with and rescue and they can love on than training
going
a dog that is not
Fixing-
probably the best option for them.
or fixing things that we can't fix for them. So,
That was my tip of the week.
dog of the week. Here we go.
Dog of the week is Dixie.
Our favorite little mini Aussie loaf of joy.
She is a chunkamunka.
Mm-hmm.
Her pantaloons
abound.
are amazing. Her booty is big.
Mm-hmm. And fluffy.
She's one of the prettiest dogs
Yeah.
Like her coat is gorgeous. Her eyes are ice blue. She is a sight to
Go
behold.
stop her.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. She came to us when she was a wee lass.
Oh my gosh, I think she was like 10 weeks old or 11 weeks old or something.
Tiny and full of it.
She's always been full of it. Very
And
bossy.
we trained her for her awesome parents. They have been coming to us ever since. I think she turned 3 on Christmas.
Yeah. And so we worked with them. And then we started a day camp program. So it's like, our version of dog daycare. It's super structured. They get to play in a training session and some snugs with us and just they come for the day and have fun and then they go home. And she comes. Does she come twice a week? Dixie comes twice a week. And this morning, actually, this very morning in the ice and snow, Dixie
sun wasn't even up yet.
Was so excited to get into day camp that she squirmed away from her mom and
took a victory lap in the front yard.
She did. She took a victory lap. She went and checked. Erica said, I think she went and checked the backyard to see if anybody was back there. And then she zoomed right up to the front and she came right in the door because she was so happy to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. She's the best. We love it when clients' dogs are happy to be at our place. All of our frequent flyers, they know right where they are.
Yeah, she came right back to the front door. She just was so excited she couldn't contain herself.
Yeah. I love those responses.
I do too. You know what else I love? I love the treats that Dixie's mom brought us.
I'm glad that only happens like once a year.
I know.
It'd be bad if we got more treats.
The treats were delicious and much appreciated.
Yeah. And Dixie is interesting because she has those ice blue eyes. And God, she looks like a psycho all the time.
Her excitement level is always so, so high. And her eyes kind of bug out of her.
Totally. And she crazy.
She loves the backyard though. Like what cracks me up about her is when she plays with another dog that she herds them and she does the crouching and she does the whole thing. And it's so funny. And I'm so glad that we are able to give her that opportunity because it's not an opportunity that she would have at her house to do that. So we have a lot of space in the back that she likes to go play with other dogs. And she's pretty helpful to us as far as she helps us train training camp dogs because she's reliably there twice a week and we use her as a training aid.
We know her so well. We know her tolerance level. So we'll be like, hey, we're going to put this new dog with Dixie. And we kind of use her as a gauge. Like if this dog is too much for Dixie, we know that can't do.
Buckle up, everybody.
We know it can't do X, Y, Z because Dixie ain't having it.
She's a happy kid. She's a happy kid, that's for sure. All right, that's Dixie.
Okay.
We love her.
What else are we talking about today?
I have a case of the week for you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Dun,
so
dun, dun,
this case.
Dun. Okay, I'm done.
The case of the week is Maggie.
Great Dane Maggie.
Maggie is a Great Dane. Maggie's is an interesting case. So
what did her mom say her color was?
Oh, something with lilac points.
Yeah.
Something with lilac points. She's like fawn colored.
No, she's more blue than that. No, anyways, doesn't matter.
Maggie's mom called me and she said, I have this Great Dane. She's like 11 months old. And sorry, whoever's listening to this and knows exactly how old Maggie is, because I can't remember, but I think she's like just shy of a year.
I'll look it up.
And she said, I cannot get this dog potty trained. I'm struggling and she's eating poop in the backyard and I need some help. And so we were like, okay.
Yeah, 11 months old. When she called you, she's now a year.
Okay, so she's now a year. This was interesting because Maggie has an interesting living situation as her mom is becoming a Great Dane breeder. When her mom called, she's like, I can't get this dog potty trained. And I asked all the questions, tell me about kind of the household. Are you creating her? Blah, blah, blah. Well, Maggie's mom is becoming a Great Dane breeder. So she's kind of collecting Great Danes. So she has a genetic pool of them.
I feel like Tom. And a lot of Great Danes.
And I said, well, how many Great Danes do you have? And she said 11. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, what now?
Yeah.
That's huge. she has all these Great Danes and then she has a couple other dogs. She said she had like 20 dogs in total. And I'm like, okay. So the scope of this project got a little different because clearly it's not a novice dog owner. She knows what she's doing. Every other 19 other dogs are potty trained, right? At her house, she's using crates religiously. Like she's killing it. So I was super curious and interested to work with this lady because of that. Because I know when we have 11 dogs in the kennel for training, we've got a bunch of us working on them and she's got just her and her husband. So anyway, when a dog is over 6 months old and
potty trained,
and well, almost a year old, and not potty trained, that's a pretty big behavioral
leap to make.
Yeah, it's a big ask to get accomplished. And so, like I said, she's not a novice. So she was already doing most of the things that we would have suggested. So when we've got that age of a dog and it's potty training and they're eating their poop and all the things.
She didn't even know she was eating her poop when she sent her to us, remember? She
That's
was like,
true. Well, she thought she wasn't pooping overnight.
Yeah, she goes, it's so bizarre. She won't have a poop accident overnight.
And she was eating it. But she was eating the other dog's poop outside.
Yeah, she did know that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It took us about
this
a day.
This is why I was going to say so when it's a big behavioral issue like this, then we were like, okay, well, we'll just keep her for 4 weeks, which is our largest, like biggest deal, board and train, because we're like, oh my God, the lady's already doing 75, 80% of what we would do. So we have a project on our hands.
Yeah.
So we got her in and
I think for her was what we kind of figured out by the end of it was she's going out in this big yard with all the herd of Great Danes and is kind of obsessively hunting and sniffing out and consuming giant Great Dane feces.
You're going to make me gag.
She's eating it so much.
Okay.
She's eating.
Look, our audience is leaving right now.
She's eating so much of it, essentially, that we can't, how much intake she's taking in. So food, and that it's got to come out at some point. So she's pooping more. We're like, oh, she's got to go out and either be kept on a leash or let out into a yard that we know there's not very much feces in. Because we keep our backyard, our dog yard, pretty well policed up. But obviously, we miss a turd here and there. And she was reliably sniffing them out.
And it's not uncommon for dogs, like little puppies, when you're potty training, for them to be let out and they are distracted in half a second by a butterfly or a piece of grass or a noise or whatever. They knew they were supposed to go out and potty, but they got distracted within a second and they didn't potty. And the human wasn't exactly monitoring it. And they come back in, they had plenty of time to go potty, and they potty on the floor because they got distracted. So she was not only getting distracted by other dogs out there, she was obsessively poop hunting.
And we quickly figured, if she had some structure, some exercise, some stimulation, it helped with the poop hunting, but it never completely went away. Like it was almost like an obsessive compulsive behavior that she did, but she did settle easier in her kennel, which meant she was holding her pee and poop. And at some point when she started pottying outside, it was like she quit hunting for poop and started hunting for a place to go. Like I don't know, like we had like a little bit of a breakthrough. And then once she was empty, like once she had emptied her bladder, she was kind of back looking for more poop. But then we could easily got her
to go potty outside first.
Yes. And then she injured her eye.
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of camp, and she had to go home. Which when that happens, that is like, that frustrates the hell out of me because we lose progress. Dogs got to go home and get rested up. Like dogs sometimes get injured at our camp. It happens.
And it was a matter of like, she was fine. And just like, we know exactly what happened and when it happened.
Yeah.
She was just walking along
out on the leash.
And a piece of grass like poked her eye or something. So she wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
She was actually right next to a trainer when it happened.
Yeah. So when it does happen, sometimes they got to go home and rest before they can come back. So when we got her back, I think she was home about a week. We got her back and we are like, okay, we don't know. Like we might be starting over.
Yeah.
This potty training. Her mom said she did pretty well with it at home. I want to say she was home that week. She only had a couple accidents, I think, if I'm remembering it right. And I was like, okay, I'm encouraged by that. So her first couple days back at camp, she pooped in her kennel and peed every night. And we were like, no, but it took her about a quarter of the time to get back on track than it did on day 0 of camp. So that was really cool. And she's doing well. I think her mom said she had to do a little bit of leash, taking her out for potty breaks. But I mean, I think the last I checked in with her, she's pretty much running with all the rest
They're
of
all
the jobs. And I think she's doing well. So
Yeah, we had to do, I mean, with all of these potty cases, it's hard to potty train adult dogs.
yeah.
It just is. It's a lot of work. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's disgusting. Let's just be honest. It's a lot of cleaning. It's a lot of work. And so when I look at families like this that they're working full time and whatnot, and they've got a dog that they've done all the things and they can't potty train them, I'm like, unless you take 2 weeks off of work and take your dog out every 30 minutes, I don't know. Some of these cases are so difficult. I don't know what else to do. So it's a matter of, they're like, well, obviously I can't do that, but I can send them to you. So then we take them out every 30 minutes. And yeah.
When people, it's so funny when people drop their potty training dogs off to us. It's hard for anybody to drop their dog off to us. And it's a little bit emotional sometimes. And people struggle with it. I totally get it. The potty training.
They're like, don't let the door kick you.
They're like, bye. Here's your crate.
They're like, they're your disgusting problem now.
You ever noticed that?
Yeah, they're not crying when they leave.
No.
They're like, bye. I got to get my carpets cleaned.
Yeah.
I got to buy a new couch.
Yes. All those things.
Yeah. I mean, just to be clear, we're not talking about run-of-the-mill potty training here. We're talking about, like, we get a dog that's never gone potty outside one time and they're almost a year old. Like, these are difficult cases. These are not just typical, like, puppies that, you just teach them the routine and they get it. These are cases like my Kevin.
Yeah. There's usually some crate trauma, like,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
The dog freaks out in the crate, so we quit using it, or my dog was injured in the crate.
Yeah.
All those things.
Or it's mean to put them in a crate.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to potty, but I also don't want to put them in a crate. Those are a lot of issues we see. So that's why Maggie's case was a challenge, because when people call us and they're like, no, I'm not using a crate, and no, I've got potty pads, and sometimes we go outside and sometimes we go potty inside, and they're not doing any of the things that we would recommend them to do. And so those are easy typically, because once we introduce those tools and that structure to the dog, they pick it up quickly. We're talking about dogs that, like I said, have never maybe pottied outside in their lives. Like, they think that we had a dog that thought that the crate was where she was supposed to potty instead of the outside. So when we get age on this problem of potty, and then we have crate issues too, because when you use the Google machine to look up potty training,
what we experienced with Kevin, he was just over a year when we started potty training him.
Yeah. So
we kind of figured out along the way, he literally didn't even have the muscles developed to hold his urine. I'm sure there's an actual name for those muscles, but
Kevin was at a breeder. He was over a year old. He had no name. He had never seen a toy. Was just on concrete always.
Yeah.
I will say his nails looked great.
Yeah.
But he was always on concrete. And so he didn't go anywhere else. He didn't go outside to go potty. He didn't know any different. So he pottied where he was whenever he felt the need, he just pottied.
That's what I was going to say. His behaviors, even though he was in a grown dog body, the way he was pottying was like a newborn puppy. He would be in the middle of something and it would hit him and he would go.
He would stop where he was. Yeah. And he would just go.
Yeah. That's kind of, and we were like, oh,
he was, what we call that in the education system.
What? Learn me something.
A kindergartner with a mustache.
Okay. I should have seen that one coming.
Kev was a kindergartner with a mustache. He looked like an adult dog.
Yeah.
But his behavior was very much a puppy. And yeah, I fully feel like he he got to a point, it took us an entire year to potty train him. And that was using the crate, going out frequently, all the being vigilant, all the things. At one point, it clicked with him. You could see that he wanted to go out and he couldn't hold it. So that's when we really realized that
He was like signaling to you.
yeah, he was signaling to me, but he couldn't hold it in.
Yeah.
Like when he signaled, it was like the signals weren't quite matching up. And by the time it reached me, it was already too late, which was, oh my God, it was so frustrating and gross. And it was exhausting. We were doing laundry. I mean, it was exhausting. It's an exhausting problem to deal with.
Yeah. The other thing that he was doing that was a little bit different was anytime he went, I mean, he completely emptied. And it was like a lot of pee.
I've never seen a dog pee so much in my life.
It wasn't like he was marking or lifting his leg or,
he wasn't marking and stuff in the house at all. He was emptying every time. And he had a lot. Well, he has a drinking problem.
People say Kevin's got a drinking problem.
It's no problem at all.
Mm-mm.
Well, it was a huge problem.
It still kind of is. He has like a weird water thing.
Yeah. But honestly, I mean, he was developmentally delayed. His muscle control was developmentally delayed. His socialization was delayed. He'd never been in a house. He had no idea what to do with himself. So this is the kind of potty training that is so incredibly frustrating to people in their homes that we have found that we can help with. And we help a lot of dogs in this situation where they're an adult dog. The family just has tried everything they know. But unfortunately, it is our highest level of camp because it's a ton of work. It's a ton of behavioral work. And there's a lot of moving pieces because we're not just in and out of the crate all day at camp. Like you said, we're doing all the other training too to get the mental stimulation as well.
What the statistics are, reasons for rehoming, and how far up potty training would rank on that.
Oh, we should look that up.
If we were Joe Rogan, we'd have a little jabroni.
You can just yell at somebody
Yeah.
and that you can't see on camera and they look it up for you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. But yeah, we helped Maggie. It's always funny to me because when we have a difficult potty case at the kennel, we have like potty parties when they actually go. And the dog thinks it's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to them because we get so excited and happy.
Also say,
we tell everybody.
Yeah, we pretty consistently don't need to use treats for any of these crazy potty training cases. And I just think that's cool because
no, you're right.
It's such an ingrained behavior in where the dogs will potty and where it's appropriate, and to not have to use any high value rewards outside of ourselves.
Well, that's because of how we use ourselves as the reward.
Yeah, but to shape and change that deeply of an ingrained behavior in a lot of these, it's cool. And I love it.
It is cool. It is cool. And I like sending dogs home that aren't crapping all over their house. It's just an interesting thing we do, isn't it?
Very strange.
So Maggie, we're very proud of her. She worked hard. Her eye is fine. And she's a beautiful lilac pointed Great Dane that lives with a lot of other Great Danes and hopefully is no longer hunting poop.
And on that note, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Love 'Em and Lead 'Em. If you want to hear more, be sure to check us out every other week on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Dog Training Camp USA Louisville and check out our website at dogtrainingcamplouisville.com for more information on our training and other services.
If you need help with your dog, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find our contact details in the show notes.
We'll smell you later.